If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
Well, that was a very interesting finish to the Michigan race. A lot happened. There was a lot of implications toward the chase and the regular season, and not really much toward the regular season championship. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the other action that happened first off this weekend. So starting off, we had the truck race at Gateway, the opening race in the Truck Series round of 10 chase. And that race, well, at one point in the race, there was a power outage in this race that caused a massive delay. Yeah, it's very rare to see a power outage at a NASCAR race. It almost never happens. So yeah, that was pretty weird and random. The reports were that there was some kind of like car accident that happened outside the speedway, like a semi-truck accident or some shit that caused the power outage to happen. Either that or maybe it was the thunderous pop CM Punk got in Chicago that same night when CM Punk made his return at AEW. Take your pick, folks, on what caused that power outage. But we would have a massive delay, and eventually the race would get back underway. And then there was a massive crash right shortly after they got back green, and it became a bit of a shit show. Pretty much John Hunter Nemechek got a little damage and had to fight back. Gilliland had some issues too, along with Zane Smith and Chandler Smith. And Hocevar had some issues too, and Austin Hill. But through all of it, Sheldon Creed had the dominant truck all night. He'd stay clean and stay out of trouble. And Sheldon Creed gets his second win of the year. So Sheldon Creed wins at Gateway. And with that win, it means that Sheldon Creed will officially advance into the round of 8. So Creed will be the reigning Truck Series champion will be the first driver to advance to the next round of the truck chase. So Sheldon Creed's truck title defense stays alive. So of course next week the Truck Series is off until Darlington in 2 weeks for Labor Day weekend. So trucks will be off next week. And of course, there were also the rumors about the truck. Also in this race, we should mention one more thing. Those horny-ass Hailie Deegan Simps have something to celebrate. Because Hailie Deegan finally got her first career top 10 finish with a 7th place run. She also becomes the first female driver to get a top 10 finish at a track that isn't named Daytona. So hey, congrats to Hailie Deegan on that. Just stay away from her social media because the fucking simps are gonna be super horny now. You stupid, creepy, horny bastards. Happy for Hailie Deegan, but fuck her fan base and army of simps. I just don't want nothing to do with those horny bastards, but congrats to Hailie. And there are also reports earlier this week about Cup Series potentially looking at coming to Gateway, or even possibly adding a race at the Los Angeles Coliseum where the Los Angeles Rams used to play. Well, I say I'm all for it. I think NASCAR should go to Gateway, but that power outage may raise some red flags. Especially with how some of NASCAR's races on new tracks this year have had mixed results, or have looked like disasters or turned into shit shows. Like, out of all the new tracks this year NASCAR had, or new layouts, the only race that didn't end up being a complete shit show, or didn't have any kind of shit show implications, was Road America, where there was really not many issues at Road America. Like, Bristol Dirt, the track was prepared very poorly. CALDA, there was the whole rain thing where it got ridiculous racing in monsoon. Then you had Nashville with the traffic issues, the parking issues, and then the fucking stupid cooler ban. Then you also had the Knoxville Dirt Race in trucks, which was a complete fucking disaster from start to finish. And then last week you had the Indy Roval, which was a good race until the last 10 laps, and then the curb came apart. When the curb came apart, it became a shit show. So yeah, if Gateway comes to the Cup schedule, what happens again? Will there be another power outage, or will the Cup, or will NASCAR learn from this and run the race in the daytime? We'll have to see. The 2022 schedule hasn't come out yet, but when it does, you know I'm going to do a reaction video to it. But yeah, anyway, let's move on from this. Let's go to the Xfinity race at Michigan. So this Xfinity race at Michigan, it was mainly dominated between Justin Allgaier and Josh Berry, with Josh Berry driving the one car, subbing for Michael Annett, whereas Annett is still battling leg-ish injuries and can't stay healthy. So Berry was able to get the lead, but late in the race on the final round, on the supposed final round of stops, Justin Allgaier would take gas only, while Josh Berry would take 4 tires, but Berry was able to run Allgaier down until a late caution late in the race. That would force the race to go into triple overtime. Allgaier would have to pit before the overtimes. Mainly the caution came out for Jeb Byrne running out of gas and being unable to get back to pit lane and stalling on the track, which that is a safety hazard. And then Allgaier had to pit. I mean, in that situation, Allgaier was screwed either way, because if he stayed out, he would have lost to Berry. So it's really, he was damned if he stayed out, damn if he pitted. So yeah, and then in the 3 overtimes, AJ Allmendinger would get by Josh Berry late. And AJ Allmendinger would come out of nowhere, and Allmendinger wins at Michigan. Man, what a week Allmendinger's been on. Allmendinger wins the Cup race at Indianapolis last week, and then for an encore, he follows it up with a win in Xfinity at Michigan to help give him more bonus points toward the Xfinity Chase. And there was also a big wreck that may have Chase implications. Probably not, though. So yeah, and Terrible Herbst got some more points. So now Terrible Herbst is almost a full race ahead of Michael Annett. Just notice, if Michael Annett was still healthy, Annett would be well ahead of Terrible Herbst in the standings. The only reason Terrible Herbst is in this chase right now is because of Annett's leg issues. Herbst has no business being in. And of course, next week for Xfinity is Daytona, the crapshoot. All I say is, someone below the cutoff line, win. Someone below the cutoff line like Brandon Brown or Ryan Sieg or Tommy Joe Martin. I don't care who it is. Someone below that line, win and knock Herbst out of the chase. Herbst has no business being in. Like, please, someone be the hero we all want you to be and knock Terrible Herbst out. But yeah, Xfinity, pretty meh. Now, IndyCar race at Gateway was also interesting. It was actually a really good race, easily the best race this weekend. There was some good racing too. There was even a crash at one point that did have some championship implications involving Scott Dixon and Alex Palou. When both of them would both end up in a crash with Rinus VeeKay. And of course, Dixon tried to limp it around as much as he can and then parked it with around 60 to go. Palou was out of the race. And of course, that could be big implications in the championship, since we're getting close to the home stretch in IndyCar, because after this off week, because IndyCar's off till September 12th when they go to Portland. So then they'll have 3 races on the West Coast at Portland, Laguna Seca, and then the Long Beach for the finale. So, of course, everybody else in the championship, like mainly Pato O'Ward and Joseph Newgarden, both of them ran up front. Like, throughout most of this race, it was mainly dominated by Penske. It was mainly dominated by Newgarden and Power. But Newgarden was able to pull away late, while Power would just fade again. And Pato O'Ward came up to second, but O'Ward would just play it safe and just could not get to Newgarden in time. And Joseph Newgarden gets his second win of the season. winning at Gateway. And Pato O'Ward finishes second, and that now gives Pato O'Ward the points lead. Also, Marcus Ericsson has a solid run too. So right now, for the most part, it's mainly a three-man battle for the championship, with Scott Dixon and Marcus Ericsson having outside shots at the title. So mathematically, it's pretty much a five-man battle for the championship, but it's realistically a three-man battle between Palou, O'Ward, and Newgarden, with Dixon, like I mentioned, Dixon and Ericsson having outside shots. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting 3 races for sure to decide who will become the 2021 IndyCar champion. Will we have a first-time champion this year? Will Newgarden win his 3rd championship? Or does Scott Dixon come from behind and win his 7th championship this year? We'll find out in September when we come back from IndyCar's little break before we have a 3-week West Coast swing to end the year. So yeah, you have that there. And now to the Cup race at Michigan. Also, I should mention that F1's also back next week at Belgium. F1's off, little break ends. So yeah, F1's back in Belgium next week. So we continue on the championship battle of Hamilton versus Verstappen next week. Now to the Cup race at Michigan. Well, throughout this race was dominated by Hendrick Motorsports. Like, the only car for the most part of this race that had speed that compete with the HMS cars. At one point, you had Austin Dillon compete up there, and maybe the Camlin and the Gibbs Toyotas. Like, stage 1 was all HMS, with Chase Elliott winning the stage. And then stage 2, it was looking like HMS all over again, because Larson and Chase Elliott were working together, and they were both both taking advantage of the shitty 550 HP package and using it to their advantage by bump drafting with each other and trying to pull away from the field as best as they could at Michigan. Like, really, at Michigan, the only time the races at Michigan ever become interesting or good is pitch strategy. And for the most part of this race, we didn't really have pitch strategy in this race. The only time we had it was, like, the end of stage 2, when Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson would take 4 tires and gas, while Kyle Busch would take 2 left side tires and gas to get ahead the lead. And then Christopher Bell would take 2 tires as well to get ahead of Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. And that would allow Kyle Busch to win the stage. Hey, the best way to beat the HMS cars is to outsmart them. And which you can't fault Kyle Busch for that. Their team outsmarted them and got a stage win. And of course, the big controversy came in stage 2 when Austin Dillon would get turned by Brad Keselowski as they came past the start-finish line. And Austin Dillon would take a massive hit into the wall. Hell, Austin almost flipped over. Like, that was a hard hit for Austin Dillon. And that, of course, has big chase implications because Austin was able to gain a bunch of gain a bunch of stage points on Tyler Reddick, but it didn't mean anything. But that doesn't mean anything when your car is behind the wall. So, yeah. That incident, I think it was just Keselowski just misjudged the gap there and thought he was clear, tried to side draft him and got a little too close. Like, I think that was just a racing incident, like side drafting gone wrong. And then stage 3, it was all Kyle Larson and William Byron when Chase, Kyle Busch, and Christopher Bell and Reddick would all pit for tires and gas. And they really just couldn't get through the field again. And we didn't see much pit strategy at all, except Byron was able to get the lead ahead of Larson by pitting 4 laps sooner. But the turning point of this race came with 20 to go. Around 20 to go, when we would get a caution for light rain. And let's be real, the rain was the right call because NASCAR didn't want to have a situation like New Hampshire where they didn't throw the caution for rain and then it downpours and everyone wrecks. So you can't fault NASCAR for that. One, NASCAR was just trying to find a way to not embarrass themselves again, so can't really fault them for that. That caution was the right call. It would then get to a restart with Larson and Byron, and then we would have a cup, and we would have another wreck, which would take out Logano and a few others. So yeah, and then we get another restart, and then Ryan Blaney, who took advantage of a lane choice and then got a better restart than Byron on the final restart. While that was happening, Tyler Reddick would get some damage. So whatever Tyler Reddick was going to gain on Austin Dillon from that wreck, it just pretty much canceled out with Reddick having to pit, but no caution would come out. So then we would get a 3-car battle for the win between Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Kyle Larson. But through all of it, despite Byron and Larson's best efforts, it was still not enough to stop Ryan Blaney. And Ryan Blaney gets his second win of the season and wins at Michigan. So Blaney finally has a multi-win season for the first time in his career. Fucking finally. About time Blaney finally had a multi-win season and started living up to his potential, instead of choking and looking like a little bitch. But that's not enough for me to convince Blaney's legit yet. Because Blaney has been sort of like Matt DiBenedetto. The only difference is that Blaney is able to show up and perform when it matters the most, unlike the Matty D. But this year for Blaney, no. Blaney has to prove something to me in the chase. And he has to outperform Logano and Keselowski on a daily basis. Like, I'll say this here, because Blaney's getting a new crew chief next year. That will be Blaney's second get your shit together moment. And I'll say this, if Cindric comes in the Cup next year and outperforms Ryan Blaney almost instantly, then I think the issue with that 12 car is Blaney, if he cannot perform. Like, you can make every excuse in the book you want for Blaney, but if he cannot show... But Blaney this year, he has to prove something to me in the chase. You want me to take Blaney serious? I'll give you all this. Wake me up when Blaney makes the Final Four. When Blaney makes the Final Four, then I might take him serious in the chase. But yeah. But Blaney's win does have one thing here. Because with Blaney's win, plus Reddick's crash late in the race, and then Harvick staying out of trouble, all of that adds up to Kevin Harvick officially locking up the chase spot. So Harvick is now locked into the chase mathematically. All I say to that is, thank fucking God Harvick didn't choke himself out of the chase. But let's be real, even if Harvick did somehow choke himself out of the chase, would everyone blame Harvick for not performing when it mattered the most? Fuck no. They'll just blame the goddamn chase format. Because everyone will say, it's stupid and dumb. It should be changed. It should be abolished. Let me be real. As much as I hate the chase itself, it's called a postseason for a reason. Let me just say this. If you cannot show up and perform when it matters the most, then you don't deserve the opportunity to compete for a championship. Simple as that. And what I just said there, that logic, it applies to any championship format. From the 10-man chase grid to the 12-man chase, 10-man chase or 12-man chase, or even the 2003 Winston Cup points format, or even the F1 points format. If you cannot show up and perform when it matters the most under any format, then you don't deserve the opportunity to compete for a title. Simple as that. But yeah, the question is, can Harvick show up and perform when it matters the most, or will he be eliminated? And if Harvick's eliminated this year, will fans actually admit that Harvick's washed up, or will they just blame the chase grid again like they did last year? We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, of course, next week at Daytona, the cutoff race, the crapshoot. We got 15 drivers competing for one chase spot. And mainly there are two drivers battling in on points, and then 14 others are in a must-win scenario. So 15 drivers will battle for the 16th and final spot into the chase. Only one will make it in. One will make it in, and 14 others are heading straight to Elimination Station and going to be having their names written in this death notebook. But for now, Let's take a look at the Chase bubbles and the IndyCar Championship battle to see where everything stacks up. So first off, we're going to take a look at the Trucks Chase grid entering Darlington in 2 weeks. So you got John Hunter Nemechek and Ben Rhodes, 55 and 52 points in the good. I think they're pretty safe on points. No need to worry about them just yet. Matt Crafton and Stuart Friesen, they're 33 and 31 points to the good right now with 2 races left until the cutoff race at Bristol. So I think they're pretty good on points too. I think set 6, 7, and 8 is when it gets interesting. You got Austin Hill, 21 points to the good. I think he's pretty good now, but I think he needs to get a few more points. He just needs to have some solid runs and stay out of trouble the next 2 weeks, and I think he's good to the round of 8. Carson Hocevar, he's currently 13 points to the good. He just needs to stay out of trouble and just run his own race the next two truck races, and I think he's good to go. And then Todd Gilliland is 10 points out because of his misfortunes at Gateway. So Todd Gilliland, he just needs to have a bounce back performance at Darlington or Bristol, and I think Gilliland could be good too. Shane Smith and Chandler Smith both had issues. Shane Smith 10 out and Chandler Smith 18 out. Both of them need to have some good runs and hope Gilliland or Hocevar or Austin Hill or somebody above the cutoff line struggles if they want to have a shot at moving on to the round of 8 and not be sent to elimination station. So, of course, the truck chase continues in 2 weeks with 2 races left in the round of 10. So that's where the truck chase stands. Now let's take a look at the Xfinity Chase grid bubble with 4 races left until the Xfinity Chase starts up. So let's take a look at the bubble. So you got Hemrick, like Daniel Hemrick, Harrison Byrne, and Justin Haley. Noah Gragson, we're not talking about those 4. Hell, after Daytona next week, good chance Hemrick and Harrison Byrne will lock themselves in the chase next week. Hell, maybe even Justin Haley locks himself in next week. I highly doubt it, but you never know. But odds are Hemrick and Harrison Byrne are more than likely going to be officially locked into the Xfinity Chase next week. Haley and Gragson, there's no way in hell those 2 are missing the chase as well. Brandon Jones, 87 points to the good right now. This point of the year, Brandon Jones controls his own destiny. Jeremy Clements, he's 66 points to the good. He just needs to have a solid run and stay out of trouble at Daytona. He could put himself in a good position after Daytona with the rest of the competition being shitmobiles. Clements controls his own destiny like Brandon Jones. And Terrible Herbst, he's 41 points to the good right now. Only reason Herbst is in right now is because of Annette's leg issues. If Annette was fucking healthy, Herbst would be nowhere close to the chase. Herbst has no business being in the chase right now. Annette, 41 points out. I'm not sure if Annette's even going to be able to race his way in if he can't stay healthy. And then you got Brandon Brown, Ryan Sieg, Tommy Joe Martin. They're pretty far back on points right now. They're pretty much, I think, almost in a must-win scenario. Someone below the cutoff line that's still eligible for the championship to make the chase. Please, someone win and knock Terrible Herbst out of the chase. I don't care who it is. Someone be the hero we all need you to be and unfuck the chase grid and get Terrible Herbst out of there. Herbst has no business being in the chase. Get Herbst out of here. Now let's take a look at the IndyCar points with 3 races left in the season. So you got Pato O'Ward with the points lead. Alex Palou is 10 points out. Newgarden 22 out. And then you got Scott Dixon and Marcus Ericsson, the long shots, 43 and 60 points out. It's more so a 3-man race, but Dixon and Ericsson have outside shots. But Dixon and Ericsson, the next 3 races, if they want to have a legit shot at the title, they need to have some solid runs and hope that Newgarden, Palou, and O'Ward struggle ahead of them. So yeah, this is shaping up to be a very interesting championship battle. And oh look, and this championship battle is under a season-long points format and not a chase grid format. Damn, it's like we don't need a stupid fucking chase grid format to decide a championship. We can just let it happen naturally, instead of have some forced watered down bullshit drama shoved down our throats every week. But yeah, that's a rant for another day. And before I show the Cup Series chase bubble for the 16th and final spot, I should also mention that there's still a regular season championship still up for grabs. So there's 2 drivers battling for the regular season championship at Daytona. Kyle Larson enters with a 28-point lead over Denny Hamlin. So Hamlin needs to have a solid run and hope Larson gets caught up in the big one or struggles at Daytona. Larson just needs to stay out of trouble and stay close to Hamlin to have a shot. Like at this point, Larson controls his own destiny when it comes to the regular season championship. And keep this in mind. For whoever wins the regular season championship, that's 15 more bonus points for them that carry over with them throughout the chase. And those 15 points could be the difference in you making the Final Four and having a shot at a championship or being sent to elimination station. So yeah, who will win the regular season title? Kyle Larson or Denny Hamlin? Place your bets. And now finally we get to the Cup Series chase bubble for that 16th and final spot. So Tyler Reddick, he enters 24 points ahead of his teammate Austin Dillon for that 16th and final spot. Those are the 2 drivers that are battling in on points. So Austin Dillon, he either needs to win or he needs to have a solid run and hope Reddick gets caught in the big one or struggles. Reddick just needs to stay close to Austin Dillon or win the race or just stay out of trouble. Like at this point, Reddick controls his own destiny. However though, for guys like Matt DiBenedetto, Chris Buescher, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Raj Chastain, Bubba Wallace, let's see here. Yeah, Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chastain, Buescher, DiBenedetto, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman, Ryan Preece, Cole Custer, Corey LaJoie, and Anthony Alfredo. Their goal is very simple. Win, and you're in. And if one of those other 13 names win at Daytona, then the points battle between Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick means absolutely nothing when winning is prioritized over points. So 15 drivers, 1 chase spot. Who wants it more? And who? So yeah, next week 14 names will be sent to elimination station and 1 will get that 16th and final spot. Who wants it more? And to be perfectly honest, it feels good not having to worry about an HMS driver on the chase bubble this year. First time since 2014 I don't have to worry about it. So I can just go ahead and breathe a big sigh of relief. However, though, before we wrap this up, I do have one thing to say tonight for the Death Note. Because tonight, for Josh Bilicki and that Rick Ware shitbox of his, his ride home will be short-lived because he has arrived at elimination station and is mathematically eliminated from chase contention. So Josh Bilicki is going to elimination station and joining Quinn Half. And when you go to elimination station, you're going somewhere different. Because for Josh Bilicki's failures of having a solid season, his failures of being consistent enough to make the top 30 in points, his failures of being with a shit team like Rick Ware Racing, his failures of getting a win this year, his failures of being consistent enough to make the chase this year, and his hopes and dreams of competing for a championship this year, consider his name written down in the Death Note, as his season has been absolutely deleted, you goddamn bum!
There's only one thing left to do. Gotta write their names in the Death Note. Delete!
Delete. 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 Delete.
will rest in peace.